Not bad. Like I said, just wanted to go over this really quickly and see where you're very obviously feeling the AI creep in my songs
Okay.
that I'm working on, right? Am I right or am I wrong? If it's not AI creep, it's at least probably induced by the
Possibly.
AI. Okay. So that's why I wanted to call and talk about it because I feel like this is something for all the people who actually want to use AI in good ways. They need that, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about it. And it might just be me being terrible or good or bad or whatever it is. I was gonna bring up the two versions of the current stuff, and we can talk about whatever too. Like I'm not trying to just jump into it, but I heard record and I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Okay, so we have the two versions of the baseball game, which are the major ones in question, but I did want to touch on the ones that
Mhm.
were supposed to be for this coming Monday,
Mhm.
which this is being posted in the Jubal's wardrobe feed
Yeah.
in instead. And so yeah, but I'm halfway through recording the fourth Guardians of Atlanta, which used to be called Telling Connor and will, if it stays the way it is, be called something about that Jones girl. So, any which way, let me get the original here and tell me, were you a fan of the original baseball game?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it stand out in your mind as one of my better ones? Was there something about it that you really loved that you didn't hear in this new version, or what
Um,
was the deal?
the only thing that really stands out about the baseball game is that it's a like mhm. Trying to think of the best way to phrase it is mm, like I get what you're going for as far as like the rain, like her causing it to rain, and then her dad saying like this is a gift and all that type of stuff. Um,
Yeah,
it just always felt
it's super cliche.
yeah, there were exactly, yeah, which I know that you know. That's
Yeah,
the only thing that stands out about it is that it's a very cliche scene,
yes,
but it's
and it's
fine.
meant to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because
it
it's meant
it
to be. It's
works.
meant to fill that slot. Sirius is an uncomplicated person
Uh-huh.
in general. Um, and that's what I and Casey really love about her is she is a very grounding force in general within not just the Guardians, but like the broader Courage universe.
Uh-huh.
She's one of the most normal,
Yep.
um, which is saying something because storm powers are such a wacky, weird, crazy thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you have that good
so
juxtaposition there.
right. So I have both, and I was going to read through, and I want you to go stop and comment on things as we go. Do we want to look at the old one or the new one first?
Look at the old one first.
Okay, let's look at the old one. I'm not going to do my normal reading. I'm just going to read and
Hmm.
go from there and see how it goes. So we've got the old blue back door swung open into the Joneses' farmhouse. Sirius looked into the kitchen. There was no one about. Lightning flashed and thunder roared as her soaked and shivering form stepped inside and dripped to the floor, hoping to get warm. "Cirrus," came a voice from the other room. "Is that you, darlin'?" he said. A dirty-looking man walked in from the kitchen with a Braves cap on his head. He wore a red flannel shirt with blue overalls on top, and the car part he'd been carrying he quickly did drop, for the sight of his daughter crying was alarming indeed. He hugged his crying tween-age girl as they slipped down to their knees. "Cirrus, what's the matter? I thought you were at Connor's game." At the game's mention, the weather grew less tame. As Cirrus coughed and spluttered, the rain grew more intense. Reed took her aside into the living room and quietly let her vent. Once she had released the bulk of her inner turmoil, She looked up at her dad, and anger at herself roiled. Dad, I ruined the game. I was sitting in the dugout next to Connor like Coach McFarland lets me, and I tried. She began to pout. It was stupid, but I tried to hold his hand. And as soon as I did, he had to go get ready to bat, and Cirrus closed her eyelids. I couldn't help it. I started crying. Cirrus lost it again. Reed stroked his daughter's hair. They lost the game when it was called due to weather. They were in the ninth, down by 4, but they had the bases loaded and Connor on deck. Now Reed saw what she was crying for. And the rain was your fault, Cirrus? Are you kidding? Of course it was. Reed took a moment to process it all, and they relaxed during that pause. I'm sorry, Sirius, but you can't let this keep you from living your life. I told you before and I'll tell you again, you don't have to keep secrets and lie. You can tell Connor about your gift if you want. There's no way he'd believe me, Daddy. That was always her response. Why did God give me this gift? Why did he send that stupid angel to you? Reed saw the pain in his daughter's face, but even then he knew. He had to balance his firmness and comfort in his reply. God made you the way he made you. He gave you control over the sky, and it won't do nothing but hurt you to be cursing his messenger on high. I know things are hard for you, harder than most girls, in fact, but it will get better, Cirrus. God's angel promised us that. Cirrus sighed and curled up into her daddy's arms, and the raindrops lightened into a sprinkle as they stayed safe and warm inside their beautiful farmhouse, and there was no more need for talk, just the tapping of the rain and the ticking of the clock. So that's the old version. That's the
Yeah.
epic poetry version, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
any initial thoughts? You didn't stop me, so
no, no, like it's good. It's solid. Like I think there's one rhyme in there that I'm not sure like works super great. It's the and the car part he was carrying, he quickly did drop.
right.
I uh whenever you say drop, you're not meaning like drop, like dropped it to the ground. You're meaning like set it aside and went over to her, right?
No, I was saying like he sees her crying and he freaks out and runs after to check on her.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he dropped it. Like I'm not
Okay.
thinking something super heavy, but like a pipe or something, just something
Yeah.
that he has in his hand. Just immediately drops it and goes
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
it. Like it's supposed to show, um,
Okay.
like
The,
it's supposed to show like he's actually concerned about her, like she's hurt or something.
okay. But then I feel like it needs less syllables in that line
Okay,
because
okay.
it feels extended out, and if it's something that's quick like dropping, then I feel like it should be like a shorter line, kind of
Hmm.
cut off.
Okay, I see what you're saying there.
That'd be
I see what you're saying.
that'd be my one, like that's my one critique of the actual poem itself.
There is a lot of it's a hip hop thing where I'm going in and out of quotes.
Uh-huh.
And the in and out of quotes can throw off your perception of the rhyme,
Yeah, yeah.
like as they're talking later on, and a lot of people don't like that,
Uh-huh.
and it jars them, and I get that. But okay, all right.
Mhm.
So you ready for new version?
Yep.
Okay. A lot of it's the same.
Uh-huh.
Um, the old blue back door swung open into the Joneses' farmhouse. Cirrus looked into the kitchen. There was no one about. Lightning flashed and thunder roared as her soaked and shivering form stepped inside and dripped to the floor, hoping to get warm. So far, identical, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, Cirrus came a voice from the other room. Is that you, darling? He said, a father's arms open wide with a Braves cap on his head. Uh, so that's sort of an A part, B part.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's sort of doing an A part, B part almost all the way through. I think there's a C part technically too in there, but that's sort of what we're going with as far as the structure.
Mhm.
Um, he wore a red flannel shirt with blue overalls on top, and the car part he'd been carrying he quickly did drop, for the sight of his daughter crying was alarming indeed, as they slipped down to their knees, father watching, daughter weep. Anything so far?
Father watching daughter weep is a good line. I feel like the rest of that stanza doesn't
Same
work
problem.
yeah, it doesn't work super well with the like singer-songwriter stripped back guitar instrumental. It feels almost too wordy
Okay.
there.
So is it that there's too much coming over from the original
I
poem?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it
Hmm.
is. As I said, like I really like the original poem and I really like the instrumental that you have.
Right.
I just think that it like needs a heavier rewrite, which is what I said whenever we
Gotcha.
first listened to it. I think it needs a heavier rewrite to be a lot closer to the style of the music that you have.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because
Okay.
right now it feels like you have like a decent like AI instrumental track behind it that's in a style that
Hmm.
I really appreciate. Um, but the lyrics are still the same like hip hop opera stuff that you've been doing for the rest of it. It's just a little bit dissonant.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So is there so from the previous part that ends with a father's arms opened wide with a Braves cap on his head, is it a problem that it goes from that to continuing the description in the next section?
It might be.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it goes from a father's arms open wide with a Braves cap on his head, then there's a pause for the next section. He
Mhm.
wore a red flannel shirt with blue overalls on top,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like going into that description doesn't help the rhythm of the song at all.
Gotcha. Okay. I know I had noticed that specifically a little bit.
Mhm.
That was one thing that I was like, but I still really liked it, especially with the ending of that section, father watching daughter weep.
Yeah,
Um,
father watching daughter weep is fantastic, but I feel like
right,
it needs more. Like the description needs to take a backseat because you've already described a very particular thing. Like you've set the scene,
right,
you've done what you're supposed to do. With he has a Braves cap on his head, so you're like
right.
like making it descriptive. What Benjamin Myers talks about whenever he's talking about like making sure that you're creating concrete images with your words. You've done
Gotcha.
that
Yeah.
already.
So
Not an
each
exhaustive concrete image, but you have a concrete image.
so we're gonna look out for this specific issue as we continue on, but
Mhm.
it seems like you are expecting more of very like a complete idea in each section of the song rather than like a full poem.
Yes, because
Like
that's
each, yeah,
yeah
that's more contemporary songwriter thing.
yeah that's how most of the songs that I hear work. Like you can
Right,
have now the trick is, as far as I can tell, having each stanza of your having each stanza of your song, each verse of your song, um, say something complete in and of itself, and then
right.
also connect with the other verses to say something even larger that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, yeah. No, I think that that's specifically like the main thing you're feeling the dissonance on, and I
Yes.
think that's a legit point, I think. I think that it doesn't have to be on everything. The prophecy is one of those things that you said you felt it on a little bit, but I
Mhm.
think that song, the way it is, just goes so hard.
Yeah.
You
The,
know, like,
the
yeah, go
prophecy is
ahead.
also a ballad, though. Like
Right, right.
that's the difference.
It's
This is
respecting the genre.
exactly. This doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a ballad. This feels like it's supposed to be like a regular singer songwriter song.
Right,
Like
right.
the prophecy is in the vein of like Big Iron or Wreck of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Edmund
yeah.
Fitzgerald or something like that.
Right, right.
Neither of which contain. You could argue that Big Iron does. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald definitely does not. Their individual verses do not contain the like a complete message in each one. They
Well, this is
build on
also a
each other
thing.
again and again and again.
This is also a thing that goes to my father, what he listened to versus your father and what he listened to,
Uh huh.
and what we chose to listen to afterward.
Mhm.
I prefer the stuff that you're talking about, and I think I want to move in that direction for some of these, especially this one. But also, my dad was really into progressive rock, which
Yeah,
has this whole thing of we don't care how many sections there are in the song. When I say a section,
yeah,
I'm saying a verse, a chorus, a bridge that has a definite like melodic structure and like a definite syllable structure. They always work in those structures, in those sections, like in progressive rock, but they don't care how many different sections they have, or if they have a section that is done once and then never comes back in the song,
uh-huh,
depending on like how they're building it. Sometimes they'll be more structural, and sometimes they're just telling a story with music, right?
yeah,
And so I'm used to that and have always kind of written that way poetically. Um, and so yeah, that's that. But I agree for something like this, it needs to be more cohesive the way you're talking.
uh-huh,
Um, and so that's going to have to be something we talk about, or well, I work on either way, whether we talk about it or not, because we can't talk about every single one the way at the
yeah,
rate I'm working and the rate you're working. But I do see your point. Going a little further, we'll just kind of skip through this 'cause I think that's the main
yeah.
problem we're running into.
I think I am entirely in agreement there. I think that is the main problem. That's where I saw it.
Yeah,
On the first listen through, that verse is where I saw. I'm like, that doesn't feel quite right.
right, right.
And then it just happened again and again throughout the song. I think it only happened two more times. But I was
Okay.
like, yeah, this just feels a little bit off.
Yeah. So we've got what's the matter? I thought you were at Connor's game. At the games mentioned, the weather grew less tame. That's another section. I think that's fine.
Uh-huh. Yep, I agree.
Okay. Dad, I ruined the game. I was sitting in the dugout next to Connor like coach lets me, and I tried. She began to pout. It was stupid, but I tried to hold his hand, and as I did, he had to go get ready to bat, and Sirius closed her eyes. That's another section.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a problem there?
Only problem that I have there is that she repeats game um in the next line, but it's not part of the rhyme from the previous line. It's like I thought you were Connor's game. At the mention of it, the weather grew less tame. And then she says, "I ruined Connor's game again," but it's not part of the rhyme section. So it's the same. It's the same sound as the rhyme section, but it's not working in the meter as the rhyme.
I'm following.
It is
Uh,
what I'd say there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure I can work around that one or not. I
Yeah,
have to think about that one. That
yeah,
one's there isn't
mhm.
you can't call it a match because that's not what you call
Yeah.
baseball game. That's not what it's called, you know.
Uh huh.
So yeah, that'd be interesting.
Well,
Um,
I was the only way that I could think to that I can immediately think to fix it is something to say like I ruined it.
yeah, something
I
like that.
ruined it. I messed up the whole thing.
Right, right.
Something along
It
those
ruined
lines.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Next section it says I couldn't help it. I started crying. Okay, also we have a non-rhyme at the end of that section.
Hmm.
I liked it. It says it was stupid, but I tried to hold his hand and as soon as I did, he had to go get ready to bat and then I did and Cirrus closed her eyes.
Uh
I
huh.
think it works. It originally put the word eyelids because that's in the original poem, and I wanted it to feel like uncomfortable in the poem, but I
Uh huh.
changed it to eyes because I felt like even though it was a non-rhyme, it felt right
Yeah.
in that spot. You agree?
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. Okay. All right. Um, it almost serves the same situation as the uncomfortableness of using eyelids in the poem. It's like uncomfortable because it's rhyme.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean? Okay, so I couldn't help it. I started crying. They lost the game when the rain came pouring down, and now it's happening again. That's another part. Issues there.
Nope.
Okay. And then the main thing everything's working toward. God made you the way he made you, gave you control over the sky, and it won't do nothing but hurt you to be questioning why. Now, I admit that was a problem I saw very briefly, but I thought it worked out in the end.
Mhm.
Um, we don't have near as much buildup or pause in Reed
Mhm.
when he says that.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want him to come off as sounding harsh toward her,
Uh-huh.
but or like impulsive in what he's saying. But I think in the song, it makes sense if you perform it softly, which is
Mhm.
kind of what I tried to do.
Yeah.
Did you have
I,
it?
I,
Did
I,
you
I
have an
think
issue with that?
I think that the measuredness of the words that he's
Mm-hmm.
saying keep it from sounding impulsive.
Gotcha.
Because he's not just
Gotcha.
spouting, like he's not just shooting from the hip there. Um, but he's like actually saying what needs to be said to comfort her, and I think that it works. I think that that works fine.
Okay. And then the last section of that one is Cirrus sighed and curled up into her daddy's arms as the raindrops lightened into a sprinkle as they stayed safe and warm inside their beautiful farmhouse, and there was no more need for talk, just the tapping of the rain and the ticking of the clock.
Great line.
Okay.
No, no,
No
no,
notes
no
there. Okay.
notes.
Yeah, okay. I think this is going to be savable in a 1.2 or
Oh
whatever
yeah, yeah,
version as
absolutely.
far as just change a couple lines. I was worried about the syllable nature of the thing, and I think
Nope,
that that's not the issue like you were thinking. It's
nope.
literally just a few spots where it's like, okay, that's not a complete, like this section is not complete,
Yeah,
basically, is what we're getting
I,
at. Okay,
I think that's correct. I'm
yeah, I
pretty
think
sure
you're
that's
right.
right.
Yeah, I think you are right. That makes sense. And then the next one I wanted to get into because I really want to get this right, and I have some ammo now to get what I need, but I really like your thoughts, so I'm not just diving right into another pit, right? Um, you got time for this one?
Yep.
Okay. So this one, like it sounds more like a mid-tempo upbeat country. I was shooting for something like Amarillo Sky by Jason Aldean.
Not
Um,
familiar with
but
it.
I played it for you. Just takes the tractor another round, pulls the plow across the ground,
Okay,
sends
yeah,
up another throw. But I ended up getting somewhere between that and Life is a Highway, which I'm sure you know that because you have
yeah.
younger siblings that like cars. Okay,
Hey,
so
I have younger siblings. I was the one who loved cars.
that's true. You are about that age. Sometimes I forget that.
I
Anyway,
I was
okay.
I was the one who had the like 38 different cars toys. That was me.
So I liked how you said that. That was me. Oh goodness, ka-chow. All right. Let's see here. So, do you need a refresher on telling Connor, or no?
Um, no, I think I remember it pretty well.
Okay. All right. So you can kind of get the vibe I'm going for with this song, right?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Verse one. The boat shifted, creaked, and bobbed in the wind on Lake Lanier. But Connor and Cirrus both enjoyed it. They didn't have any fear. Connor loved to sit and fish, and Cirrus loved the spray, and they loved to be with one another on any given day. I can kind of sing it a little bit, but like just give you an idea. It's just rhythm-wise. It's like the boat shifted, creaked, and bobbed in the wind on Lake Lanier. But Connor and Cirrus both enjoyed it. They didn't have any fear. Connor loved to sit and fish, and Cirrus loved to spray, and they loved to be with one another on any given day. Something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay. Chorus one. There's something about that Jones girl that no one can explain. The way the wind follows her whispers like sunshine follows rain. Something in her smile that day made the whole lake shine. There's something about that Jones girl that takes your breath away. Okay.
Okay.
You get the gist of it. Like I said, it's gonna sound way better than me
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like cold singing it on the phone, but
yeah, yeah.
you get you get that was the point of the gist so that we can get to the words. Okay. Verse 2. Connor Cirrus began to speak. I have something to tell you. Fish ain't biting anyway. Go ahead, Si, what's new? It's a story about when I was born that only me and my parents know. But it's time that I told my best friend about Zeke's visit years ago. So that's verse 2. We have Bridge 1. Zeke, Connor said with a laugh, that boy on the wrestling team. No, stupid, not him. My guardian angel, she screamed. My parents were both in the farmhouse, and Mama was sick and sore when an angel told my father what God had in store. Chorus 2. There's something about that Jones girl that's starting to seem strange. Oh, the way her eyes are flashing like storm clouds bringing change. Something in her voice right now makes the whole world shake. There's something about that Jones girl that makes you hesitate. Okay?
I like chorus two better than chorus one.
Well, yeah, but it's meant to be change and build, right? That's
Uh huh.
that's the idea. But yeah. Um and there is not exactly a non-rhyme, it's like a shifted rhyme in the first one. I'll explain that in a sec. But anyway, then it goes to bridge 2. So we're actually we're putting bridges on the either end of the chorus, the middle chorus. So it's sort of chiasm, sort of a
Uh huh.
thing. Your guardian angel made you make it rain, and somehow it feels like bliss. Connor couldn't help but laugh. Sounds like a fairy tale, sis. When I control the weather, it's like my body quakes. Si, I want to believe you, but maybe tap the brakes. I don't understand, she cried. Or excuse me, you don't understand, she cried. This ain't a joke. And it kind of just builds and builds until it's like you don't even want to rhyme anymore. And as far as the music goes, you know
Uh
what I'm
huh.
saying? And it kind of just like drops out for a second, kind of a thing. Verse 3. Suddenly a lightning bolt shattered the clouds and struck a tree on the bank. Connor stared at the burning tree and his mind went completely blank. Now do you believe me, Connor? Yes, Cirrus, I do. And then it goes into the final chorus. There's something about that Jones girl that's more than meets the eye. The way she commands the thunder and paints across the sky. Something in her trust today made Connor's heart take flight. There's something about that Jones girl that makes everything feel right. And then it gives a little just sort of outro, like half verse kind of a thing. It says, Connor and Cirrus grew closer once Cirrus took the step to lay her soul before her soulmate and trust God for the rest. So that's what we got.
Yeah.
Are you
I
having
think
any issues with that the same way you had with the baseball game?
no. The uh the first chorus had some stuff that was like sounded weird, mm,
Let me read it again.
like too many syllables in the line once
Okay.
or twice.
There's something about that Jones girl that no one can explain. The way her wind follows her whispers like sunshine follows rain. Something in her smile that day made the whole lake shine. There's something about that Jones girl that takes your breath away.
Yeah. The sunshine follows whisper her whispers, that line.
The way the wind follows her whispers.
Yeah, I
Is
know.
there a rewrite to that you would suggest?
I can't immediately think of one. I feel like whispers is just too long of a word there.
Hmm. You like what it's doing though? That
Yeah,
line?
yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah, yeah.
oh dear word, oh my word, what is it called? Um,
Insinuation?
no, where you have the W and the W at the beginning.
Yeah, wind follows her
Alliteration,
whispers. Yeah, yeah,
alliteration.
alliteration. But
I like the
the way the
alliteration.
wind follows whispers. I
Yeah.
think follows is actually the word we're having problems with.
Hmm. It might be.
Is there
Yeah.
a better
Yeah.
is there a better verb there? The way the wind. Honors her whispers.
With
Um,
wind honors or whispers. Mm,
listens doesn't work because you have to add two.
mm.
Um, hmm. Obeys.
I thought of obeys, but it's still two syllables. We need we need a one syllable verb that means follow.
See, I don't think one syllables. I think that's gonna throw it off. The way the wind, da, 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 da. Yeah, it works with two. It's just the follows the way the word is shaped doesn't work.
Mhm.
I really do think it's. Let me. It's let's see. Uh, there's something about that Jones girl that no one can explain. The way the wind obeys her whispers like sunshine follows rain. But then we got follows, obeys
That
rain?
obeys sounds better.
Yeah, obeys does sound better. It's all the
Way the
extra
wind obeys her whispers. Yeah.
like sunshine obeys the rain. We gotta add the in the second in that other line there. So the way the wind
Uh,
obeys her whispers like sunshine obeys the rain.
do you have to say sunshine obeys the rain, or can you still say sunshine follows rain? Rain. You're losing the you're losing kind of the connective tissue there, but
Yeah.
I
Way
think that
the
it's
wind whispers like sunshine follows the rain. It feels like it needs a the there now.
does it
It does feel like it needs a the. Follows the rain.
sunshine follows rain.
Let's see. The way the wind obeys her whispers like sunshine follows rain. No, it works.
Yeah,
That works. I
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, okay. That does work. Okay. That was the only spot that seemed odd to you.
yeah. That's it.
So I'm not doing it in this one like I was doing in the baseball game.
Yeah, no, but this one's also more of a ballad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it is.
this one is not trying to focus on this one is not trying to focus on like the emotions of the scene and the relationship between Sirius and Reed.
Right.
It's very much following like a this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, and that works a lot better in this style.
Do you
And you've
like the
got a good beat.
chorus the way it sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're liking how it's sounding overall. Gotcha. Okay, cool. All
Yep.
right. Well, this is very helpful and that lets me know what to look out for in the future because I was doing a genre you very much like and you weren't digging it. So I
Yep.
figured out why. There's just a little bit of dissonance in those couple lines and spots because there's carryover from the previous, which we're not trying to do in that genre.
Yep.
Um, there's not so much of that here, even in the genre that it is. Like, yeah, you could make it work in some genres, like we said with the prophecy, that worked with the prophecy.
Hmm.
Um, but like basically, yeah, okay, I'm seeing it now. I think I have a better grasp. This has been very helpful. Um,
Glad that I was
I know,
able to help.
yeah, you can stop recording there.
Okay,
And I'll just put it up from there.
we'll do.